In the beginning were the trees. Hundreds of them. Thousands of them. Millions of them. And then the Great One said, "Let there be a ranger." And there was a ranger.
Young fella by the name of Gifford Pinchot.
Pinchot.
Oh, yes, that's right. Spelled like Pinchot, pronounced Pinchot.
Bully.
Of course, we all know that's not really how it happened, but it does make a good story. Actually, the Great One, I mean Teddy Roosevelt, was president back in the early 1900s when it all began. And there was a young fella named Gifford Pinchot. Oh, sorry. Gifford Pinchot. Interested in forestry he was. Interested enough to study and become the first American with a degree in forestry. Then got himself a job with the U.S. government. The U.S. already had a few forests set aside, but didn't know quite what to do with them. So Pinchot looked them over and found some terrible things. Whole forests being put to the axe with no chance to recover, unprotected from attack by great wasting fires. The sources of cool, clear water being destroyed. The woods as a place for men and animals to live were being changed from places of beauty to ugliness. Pinchot saw all this, and some ideas began to form, and he talked about them.
Here, all of a sudden, is a whole landscape. It is like lifting the curtain on a great new stage. Here are the makings of a new policy, not merely nationwide, but worldwide in its scope. Fundamentally important because it involves the very existence of men on the earth. I propose that we apply a new meaning to a word already in the dictionary and christen the new policy conservation.
Among other people, Gifford Pinchot talked to Teddy Roosevelt, and he listened. Listened to the idea of a whole system of national forests across the land, with no more wood taken out of them than regrows there each year. And President Roosevelt also listened to the voice of the people. So it happened that the Great One actually did rear back and say, "Let there be national forests," again, and again, and again. Millions of acres of land belonging to all the people of the United States, and set aside so that watershed could be protected. Timber prudently harvested, and all the vast natural resources managed so that they will be available to us forever. Because the people themselves could not take the time to watch over their land, Roosevelt established the Forest Service and named its first chief, guess who? That's right, none other than Gifford Pinchot. Four years later, a strange thing happened. A different voice spoke to Gifford Pinchot. And it said, "Pinchot, you're fired." Actually, it wasn't all that much of a surprise. Teddy Roosevelt's term of office had run out. And Pinchot didn't exactly see eye to eye with the new administration. So he got his walking papers. Before he left, Gifford Pinchot had a word for the men and women of the young Forest Service he had helped to form.
Never allow yourselves to forget that you are serving a much greater master than the Department of Agriculture, or even the administration. You are serving the people of the United States. You are engaged in a piece of work that lies at the foundation of the new patriotism of conservation and equal opportunity. You are creating a point of view that will, in the end, control this and all other nations.
Now, more than 60 years later, the main players are gone. But the national forests are still here. More than 180 million acres of them. And so are the American people, more conscious now than ever of the importance of our joint ownership in these lands. The Forest Service is still here too, but the job is infinitely more complicated, calling for skills and talents seldom dreamed of in the very beginning. Nowadays, Forest Service hydrologists carefully study water pollution problems to ensure that forest streams and rivers continue to run swift and clear. Now, too, the living spaces for animal and bird life are watched over by wildlife biologists who understand the needs of a wild and healthy habitat for our forest populations. Some specialists are seen mainly during vacation times at Forest Service visitor centers or other information points where they're stationed to help forest visitors get to know their national forests better. And some specialists are hardly visible at all because they're usually away at some danger spot, fighting fires or coping with other emergencies. And they in turn work with other specialists who require another complicated set of skills: pilots, chemists, mechanics, and the people who direct them. Foresters still regulate timber use so that our forests constantly renew themselves, while plant pathologists and other scientists carry on work to improve the health and growth of national forest trees. At the same time, new methods of logging are explored for economy and protection of all resources. Geologists, soil scientists, and others check characteristics of the terrain to give background for Forest Service management decisions about developments in the national forests. These, and people in 100 other disciplines, all wear the same badge. And other things that Pinchot wore in his day. But if future generations are to share in the wealth of the national forests, all of us need to lend a hand. Get involved and see to it that the national forests benefit all the people as they were conceived to do. Gifford Pinchot proudly upheld the tradition that our national forests should be for the many and not just the few. Once he remarked,
It is the honorable distinction of the Forest Service that it has been more constantly, more violently, and more bitterly attacked by the representatives of the special interests than any other government bureau.
There will probably always be a lot of shouting about what should be done with the national forests. Fortunately, pound for pound, your voice as a private citizen is the loudest of all. And now, more than ever before, is the time to make your voice heard, so that the national forests will be what you want them to be.